It's Kerri, Roschin, and Carmen Flores. We're going to do a little video here where we talk about sponsoring. We talk about mentoring. We talk about how to bring up the conversation, how to continue the conversation when you are ready to sponsor and you want to grow your team. I'm going to bring up some kind of like objections that you might get from women and objections from yourself. Because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. When I started thinking about sponsoring, which was about, I was a stylist for maybe 3-4 months. My first thought was, I got my first golden hostess and I thought this girl would make a great stylist. And my immediate thought was, am I giving up money? Am I giving up money? And, you know, that hostess, I want that commission. I'm not going to lie. And I think all of you have thought of that at times and thought like, oh, I want that commission. I want that on my check this month. So that's natural to think that. Of course, it doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't mean you're, you know, not thinking of others. It's just a natural thing as humans that we think of. And I think of it every time. And I think of it after I sponsor and I see how much commission they got. I think, man, that could have been mine. I'm not going to lie. So I think, though, that it was easy for me early on. The first thing I did when I signed up as a stylist and decided to take it very seriously, you know, I started as a kidnapper and then I started doing it kind of part-time. And then I saw the potential sales wise. It didn't take me long to reach out to someone above me and say, someone who had a large team and say, first of all, I want to know how long it took you to get where you are, how much work you had to put in, things like that. And so it painted a picture for me and I was able to see very clearly that building a team was the way to go for me. I think the most important thing to keep in mind when you are sponsoring or you're about to have a conversation and just in general during your entire, your mindset for your business, you need to think of like, what is your why? So when I started, my why was, oh my gosh, these products are amazing and I want every woman to know about them. But then it kind of evolved a little bit after about 3-4 months and I saw what it could do for me financially. I thought, man, I bet there's some women out there that this would really help them too. And that has become really solid. Like that is my why. That never leaves my mind. And so I think it's like really super important to keep that in your mind and like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want a paycheck? I mean, yes, obviously partially. Are you doing this because you want other women to feel good? Yeah, because that's what the product's all about. You want them to be confident, feel better, look better. And then also, are you doing this because you want to give this gift of Ruby Ribbon, financial freedom, you know, time freedom, being able to spend time with their family? Do you want to give that gift to other women? Because that, to me, that's the biggest one. That is the biggest gift that you can possibly give someone. And not everyone is going to be receptive to it, and that's okay. So some of the struggles that you have.
Mm-hmm. Just a really quick question about that, about sharing the financial, the possibility. Do you feel like, do you ever take into account the skepticism about direct sales, or do you just put that limiting belief aside, or how do you overcome that type of objection?
In the beginning, it was definitely on my mind very often because I had that same skepticism. Before I found Ruby Ribbon, I thought direct sales, I was like, oh no, ew, it just, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but it's true. So yes, in the beginning, I very much thought about that and was scared that that was the response I would get from ladies. But after you get through, like after you just keep pushing through and you just keep reminding yourself, this is not a scam. This is not a pyramid scheme. We have a real product that we know is amazing. And that is what differs from pyramid schemes and things like that. We have a real product and we sell it to consumers and not just our own stylists. So it took me a while to kind of get over it completely. I would say 99.9% of the time now doesn't even occur to me. I don't even think of it. Like it just, and every once in a while you'll get someone who says it to you, you know, who says, ew, no, MLM, ew, you know, but it's rare. And you just have to, just like anybody else who tells you no, you just have to say, okay, well, and you know, that's all right. No worries, girl. Thank you for listening to me. I'm here if you need anything.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt you.
So Oh, no, 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 please interrupt if you think of something. So once I got past that and the other objections I had in the beginning, I started to see this bigger picture of, okay, so if I pick up, 3-4 ladies, get them on my team, then I get to senior stylist, I get to associate director, I keep kind of building up. And I looked at, because I'm a very logical, analytical person, I looked at the comp plan and I saw what needed to be done to get there. So I made up my mind, this is what I'm doing. And you have to make up your mind. It's super important. You've got to make up your mind about what you want. You can't be wishy-washy and go back and forth between, oh no, I'm just going to do sales, and oh no, I'm just going to do. You can do sales and sponsoring at the same time, but you have to make up your mind that sponsoring is going to be something that you do. Like, you just have to say in my mind, this is what I'm going to do. Claiming your goals out loud, writing them down on paper. How many women do you want to sponsor? Make a puke goal. My goal for this month is 12, because we have this awesome digital kit we can now offer. And I don't know if I want to like really say it like this. I don't know how else to say it, but make up your mind that, and know that not every woman you sponsor is going to see the picture like you. In fact, very few of them are. You are going to pick up, if you sponsor 5 women in a month, I can tell you probably one of them is going to see it and take off and grow and do this journey with you. And she might last for 3 months, and she might last for 5 years. You just don't know. She might last forever. The point is, you match the energy for those people. So if someone signs up and they say, I just want to do the discount, don't just assume that they want the discount, because I started for that. I think a lot of us started for the discount. So match her energy though, present the opportunities to her, allow her to see the big picture, paint it for her a little bit. And then if she doesn't latch on and she's just doing nothing, that's okay. I spend very little time on women who don't want to spend time on the business. It's just not my thing. So, but if a woman jumps in and she's like, this is awesome. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that is a really difficult thing when you are motivated, you have goals, you're earning, you're trying, you're growing a business, and you see these women with so much potential, and you have such high hopes, and you just think they are going to be awesome at this. And then for whatever reason, whether they change their mind or life happens or whatever, they don't. Boy, it can really be deflating. But on the other hand, I think to myself, that's the beauty of this whole idea, is the freedom we get to choose how we do this. And they are using their freedom to choose something that I'm not happy about, because I see the potential in them and I see the potential in their business, but for whatever reason, they're making a different choice. And I find and found that to be a real obstacle for my mindset, because I hesitated to invest in women or invest in the process of recruiting if I didn't have a guarantee, or I didn't have, a real sense that this person was really going to make a go of it. And so I think that's something that I particularly have to continually kind of deal with, that mindset issue that I
have. Yep, absolutely. And I still struggle with that. My whole purpose, I would have went to Runway regardless, but the big thing that I wanted when I was there, my takeaway was to find out whether or not, make up my mind, set my mind, okay, this is what I'm doing, regardless of what happens, because what's going to happen. It happens to all of us. It happens to Susan Jones. It happens to Carol Spadino. It happens to Katie Roos. It happens to Tiffany Anderson. And it doesn't happen any more to any of us than anybody else. It's a numbers thing. You're going to sponsor, and only a portion of them are going to see the beauty of this. But I love how you said, the beauty of it is that there's a freedom, and that they can choose whether or not they want to do this. And so it's kind of it's good and bad, but it's the good outweighs it, for sure. The good outweighs it, because when you have someone, like if you're to hire someone, if you had a big business and you had employees and you were to hire someone and, you know, they can quit, you're going to pay them an hourly wage. It's going to be set. They're going to work or they're not going to work and all this kind of stuff. But if you find someone who is so motivated that they sit down willingly at their desk every morning or at their couch or whatever, or pull their phone out, whatever, and they choose to work Ruby Ribbon, there's something beautiful about that. It's a passion. And it doesn't, I don't think it wears off very easily at all. I mean, I don't think I've heard anyone who has a 9-to-5 job that said, oh gosh, I'm so passionate, I can't wait to go to work. I love it. I can't wait to sit down and go to work. So, I mean, I'm sure there are some 9-to-5s that have that, but it's far and few between. So yeah, there's good and bad to that. I think we should talk a little bit about having the conversation. Obviously the best time, the most, I mean, always bring it up. I always talk about it. I talk about my experiences as a stylist. I celebrate every achievement I have in my VIP groups and with my friends. I am big on bragging on myself, like, and it's not bragging, it's celebrating myself. I think that's huge, and women see that and they get excited and they want that too. They want that feeling. So that's probably one of the biggest ways that I think I attract women, is when I celebrate my successes, and also just being consistent. I mean, they see me in there every day. They see me excited every day, and they think, man, I'm not excited about my job like she is. Like, what's going on with this? I need to look into this, you know? So it's very much an attraction thing. And I think when you start a party, you do an in-person event or something, you talk about how exciting your job is and how much you love it. And then you just mention, like, hey, you could do this too. Anyone can do this. You've got a hostess who's got a bunch of forms filled out. Girl, your friends are loving this stuff. Do you want this money or you want me to take it? I'm happy to take it, but you can take it if you want. So just like any opportunity you have to say it. So I'll give you some really specific examples. August 31st, last night, it's past midnight Eastern time, getting in those last minute orders, like boom, boom, boom. And this girl, she's got $400 in her cart. She had some bathing suits, she had some camis, she was super excited. She said, oh gosh, I have $400 in my cart, I need to scale this down. And I said, why aren't you a stylist? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you something. The discount is amazing. Half off coupons. You can be your own hostess, all this kind of stuff. And I gave up that sale. I gave up a $400 sale on August 31st, just before the deadline. And she's probably going to join it. I don't know that for sure. That's the hard part. I don't know that for sure. I might have just given up a $300 or $400 sale and not get anything out of it. But I might also change her life and my own. And I am so confident and I am so passionate about that part of it right there, that I am willing to give up a $300 or $400 sale. And that's what you have to be able to do. It's hard. It's so hard. But once you start seeing, I mean, I got my first, I would say, like, real hardworking stylist. I was about 6 months in, and I saw the joy that was in her life, and I saw what she was able to do for herself. I'll never forget. She told me, she had a farm, and she said, I paid for all my animals' feed. I mean, she had goats and chickens and cows and horses and, you know, all this stuff, which is expensive. And she said, I paid it myself this month. So she was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling, and that was it, like, she cried. So that was like, oh my gosh, like, that's what it can do for ladies. And it makes me so happy. So you have to, like, make up your mind. And then the conversations are natural. You know, we can talk about some words that work, and I'll get into that a little bit here. But when you know what your passion is, when you know that you can change women's lives by giving the opportunity to them, everything else just flows. Like, it just comes. So make up your mind. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change women's lives. I'm going to give them the opportunity to do what I do, and everything else will come natural. So we'll talk about some words at work. I sprinkle it all the time. I talk about it during parties, how much I love, you know, that I quit my full-time job and I don't have to wake up to an alarm now. I'm able to stay home with my kids and my husband, and you know, he works night shift and I was working day shift, so I only saw him one day a week. And so I bring those things up, you know, just in part of, okay, now I'm going to talk about the camis and blah blah blah. So I sprinkle it then. Like I said, I talk about it to my hostesses all the time on an individual basis. I usually don't bring it up if I have like a multi-hostess chat or anything, but I bring it up on an individual basis if I see the potential. Like if I see someone, she's inviting, she's getting excited, she's got lots of friends who are interested, I'm going to say, hey, have you thought about this? And most of the time, the first 2-3 times I bring it up, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy. I don't think I would be good at this. So there are certain like words that you'll hear, I'm not good at this, I don't have time for it, that you can come up with your own, you want to make it sound like your own, like overcoming their objection. So when they say they're busy, I like to say, girl, tell me about it. Busy women know how to get things done. And there's a saying, and it says, if you want something done, ask a busy person, because it's true. Busy people get stuff done. Okay. People that aren't busy, they just don't do anything. I guess, but it's very true. I was working full time, going to school, taking 12 units in college. I have a family that I have to take care of. I had lots of pets. I had all kinds of stuff going on, and I still found time to do Ruby Ribbon at that time. So it can be done. And I've seen so many women, you know, head nurses for hospitals, like just all kinds of women who fit it into their lives. So, and you can tell those stories. You can say, oh girl, I know I was doing this and this and this when I started, and I still found time for it. If you can find 30 minutes at the end of your day to put in a little bit of time, you can do this too. And the other objection, what was it? Oh, I don't think I'd be good at this. I tell them, I'm not a salesperson. I'm horrible at selling. Like, girl, and I didn't think I'd be good at this either. I tell them about how my first live, I was a nervous wreck and I broke out in hives all over my chest. It was so bad. And just, I mean, I wasn't good at it. Nobody's good when they start. But you just keep pushing through. And so I tell them those stories, like, girl, I was so bad at this when I started, but I got my first check and it was $800 and I learned how to do it.
What percentage of these messages are you writing out in Messenger, and what percentage are video or voice clips?
Almost entirely text message, almost entirely. I do send voice messages when because I like to show the excitement in my voice, particularly when I'm talking to a hostess on an individual basis about how many people have filled out the fit form. I love to send that message. Oh my gosh, Betty, you had 35 ladies fill out the fit form just in the past 2 days. Are you sure you don't want this money, or, you know, something like that? But it's almost entirely through text message, which, but by the time, you know, when the conversation seems like they're starting to get interested, when they say something like, well, okay, tell me more, then I want it to be a phone call. Some ladies aren't comfortable getting on the phone, and I try to feel them out. Like when I say, hey, do you have a few minutes to chat tonight? And they don't respond, I think, oh, okay, she probably doesn't want to talk on the phone, and that's okay. So I'll just continue through text, but I'd say 80% of the time I'm able to get them on the phone and at least like talk it through with them. So really, like I said, it's just continuing the conversation, ending with a question. I think that's super important. So like if she was to say, I don't think I have time for this, I would say, well, girl, I was doing this when I started, and I was able to find time and earn $800 in my first month. And then I would say, do you think you could come up with 30 minutes, 3 days a week? And we can get started. So just ending with that question, and then it keeps the conversation going. And I always make a note in my calendar or in my, you know, customer tracker, like this person is interested in joining, and I will circle back, you know, until, and if they just say, I am not interested at this time, usually I'll say something like, would it be okay if I check in a few months? Maybe your situation will change. I mean, just always leave it open, you know, like always, and usually they're fine with that. I will say though, I like to get them to sign up, like when they have said yes, I'm ready to do this, I want them to sign up like right then and there. If they wait even a day, the chance of them joining goes down like probably 50 to 75%. So I want them to get on it right away. And I'm not trying to pressure them to do it. It's just, okay, you've decided, we're not talking about spending $1,000 on a kit. We're talking about 20 or 99 bucks. You know, I'm not trying to bankrupt them. Like, I want them to join because I know that when they have that excitement in their heart and they're ready to do it, like, now is the time. I strongly discourage you from saying, well, think it over, like, take some time, like, I'll get back to you in a couple weeks. Like, it's chances are you've lost them by that point. So I definitely strike while the iron's hot. That's definitely so true. Same for hostesses, but yeah, especially for stylists. So trying to think if there's anything else I missed. Can you think of anything?
So I kind of wanted to hear if, like, let's say that we've been chatting, I'm a hostess, or I'm in your VIP group, and you followed up with me, and you say, oh, can I give you a call for a few minutes tonight? And I say, okay. What would that phone call look like? Can we role play that, or can we kind of talk through that?
Yeah. I kind of start with, you know, initially, like, I'll say something like, okay, girl, let's talk it. I can do my spiel, or if you have questions, let me answer those questions first. Cause usually they've got some stuff top of mind. So I go through their list of questions. And then at the end I say, okay, well, here's what we missed. Here's what I didn't talk about. There's no fees. There's, you know, and I mean, the comparison of like what we have with Ruby Ribbon as stylists compared to like other companies and what their requirements are and their quotas and their fees and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, I mean, I make sure I tell them there's no fees ever. You have no quotas. Like, the minimum to stay active is so low. You do it just with you and your family. So, you know, and I do want to say, I want to bring up, because this is something that early on I wasn't sure if I was doing right, but it's worked out for me. I will definitely say, even if you do it just for the discount. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want, you know, someone just doing it for the discount. But those little people on your team, they add up. They add up. I'll tell you, I got to executive director this last month, and the majority of it came from all of those ladies doing 300, you know, every couple months or whatever. So don't discount those ladies. Like, you want those ladies on your team. They love the product. They're going to hit their 300, you know, every 3 months or even 1 month or whatever. So don't be scared to sponsor someone just for the discount. It's okay. But I will say that I'll just say, like, even just for the discount, this is an awesome deal. And make sure they know there's none of those fees or yucky things, or they don't have to order something for themselves or whatever if they don't want to. So after I kind of go through the questions and get through that part, the next thing I say is, all right, are you ready to jump in? It's a very forward question, but it's the closing question, right? Like, are you ready to jump in, or do you have other concerns? And when it's a text message conversation, if I can't get them on the phone, if they don't really want to talk, I'll say, you know, okay, so are you ready to jump in? And if they say, I don't know, I'll say, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, 10 being the highest, what's your interest level at this point? And that's something I say sometimes earlier on too, but they'll say like an 8, and I'll say, okay, what would get you to a 10? What is it that's holding you back that would get you those other 2? So, and it just, you know, you're not trying to put them on the spot and scare them, but it's a very direct question to find out exactly where they are. Because if they're like a 2, then it's like, okay, well, this is not a good time for you. If they're like a 7 or above, like, they need to just do it. So then just talk them through those little hesitant things they might have, the objections they might have, and just get them through it. And I definitely like to be, especially on the phone, I like to be personal. I like to say stuff like, you know, well, you know, she said she was cooking dinner before she called me. What are you having for dinner tonight? Oh, I'm having this. I'm having it. You know, get on a personal level. Definitely share your personal life. I do that all the time. Or, oh, where do you live again? Oh, you live in Michigan? How's it been up there? Like, I haven't ever been to Michigan. Just anything you can. Get people to tell you about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. And I just actually, it's just occurred to me. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to quick ask, do you ask them about, so if you did this, what kind of goals would you have? Or how much do you think you would want to earn? Do you talk about that before they join, or do you wait for those conversations till after?
I wait till after. And the only reason is because I think I did in the beginning ask that kind of stuff. But the answer was always the same. It was, I don't know. I don't know, because I'll just jump in and see what happens. And I don't want to limit them. I don't want them to say out loud, I just want to do this for the discount. I'm not interested in selling, because that could change. And I don't want them to say that out loud at any point. I want them to keep the possibilities open and keep their mind open as much as they can. Something that I was oh gosh, it's slipping out of my brain now. It was Bob Heilig. I listen to him every once in a while. Oh, okay. So Bob Heilig said something and I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. And it's so true. So when you have a conversation with someone, when you're talking to someone, and it could be any situation, not just Ruby Ribbon, but when you're talking to someone, when you ask them questions, maybe you ask them for advice, or you ask them about their day, or you just ask them, get them to open up and talk to you. There is like science, like this is a scientific fact, that when you are having a conversation and they are telling you things, advice, or about themselves, or maybe they're venting or whatever, they like you better the more that they talk. So the more that you talk, they don't, it's weird. You would think it was the opposite. You would think that telling someone about yourself would either make them like or dislike you, but it's actually the very opposite. When someone else tells you, gives you advice, or anything, when they're sharing about themselves, they like you better. And it's true if you think about it. And I just like, oh my gosh, that's mind-blowing. So I very much try to get them to open up to me, to tell me about themselves, to share whatever they're comfortable sharing, and it makes them like me better.
Why do you think I let you talk all the time when we're chatting?
I like you so much. It's true though, and that's how friendships form, and that's how you gain trust with someone, is sharing your experience and then they share theirs and stuff like that. So, but I do know that in the beginning, if you want someone to like you better, let them talk to you, let them share, let them open up and say all those things. It's definitely true. And I know it's true for me too. I love talking about myself.
So I'm just looking at my notes to see what questions I have. What percentage of so a couple of just hard number questions. What percentage of your recruits come from your VIP group who are longstanding clients? What percentage are brand new hostesses just trying the product for the first time? And what is your percentage of no's?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I would say, well, I'm really good about getting people into my VIP group. Like really good. Like I ask everyone, I invite everyone, I ask everyone, I mention it to everyone. So by the time they're a hostess, they're usually in my VIP group. So they're technically coming from both. But I would say the vast majority of women who join my team are already in my VIP group. In fact, I'm shocked when they're not in there. I'm like, what the heck? Where did you come from? How are you not in here already? So I would say 90% of them are in my VIP group. And I would say of all of the people who have joined, probably 70% are hostesses. Very few of them are women who have come to me and said, I am interested in this business opportunity. And the crazy part is that almost none of those women were successful. They came to me and they said, I see this opportunity. I'm excited about it. I can see the potential. And then they just flopped. And that's okay. Like, who knows what was going on in their life? I'm not judging them. I'm just saying it surprises me, because I get excited. I get excited when someone comes and says, oh my gosh, like, I think I want to do this. I'm super excited. I'm like, yeah, I got a rock star. And then it just nothing happens. So, that's why I really decided, because I looked back and I looked at who joined, who was successful, who was consistent. And I said, oh my gosh, it was the ladies that I just, they weren't even interested in that part of it. And they ended up being successful. And that was true for me too. So, and I know that's true of a lot of women who are total rock stars.
The biggest rock star on my team, everyone in the company knows her, joined my team on accident, thought she was helping me out by buying a $59 kit. And she came this close to beating me in sales this month. And she's going to be bigger than who even knows. So yeah, you're right. You just never know when people come in whether they're going to get traction or not. And so I love the mindset. I think mindset is so important in this, and just opening our mouths and talking about it, just bringing it up. I know that these are just basics that we hear a lot. We get talked to a lot about this, but I just feel like we can't ever lose those basics, because there's really no magic to what you're saying. It's that you're taking the basics and you're actually doing them, and it's working.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It's just like, I mean, Jen Petrowski's not doing anything magic. She's just doing the things that we're supposed to do over and over and over for 16 hours a day or whatever. But it's like, you're right. It's just doing the things we've been told that work, and we do them. And we find our own words, we find our own way to say things that feels comfortable. And that's why I don't typically give my team like, hey, here's some words that work for sponsoring, because I just tell them like, okay, this is what you want to talk about, because it has to come from them. People can sense when you copy and paste someone else's words. I swear my customers know it every time, because they ghost me. And I'm like, dang it, I shouldn't have done that. That was lazy. I should have come up with my own way to say that, because they can tell even through a text when it's me and when it's something that I stole from someone else. So not that there's anything wrong if you're busy and you want to copy and paste some words, it's okay. But try to tweak it to make it you, for sure.
So if you could give maybe 3 first steps. So in my case, I've recruited before. I have a solid team, but the thing about this business is that you can't rest on your laurels, because again, everyone has freedom every month to decide if they're going to move their business forward, they're going to stay the same, they're content, or their situation has changed, they're not going to do this anymore. And I found that if I continually added incrementally to my team each month, we could grow little by little, gain strength, and then move through the comp plan. So speak to not only someone who has experience in recruiting, but someone who's just thinking about starting, building a team, someone who's relatively new. What would be maybe your top 3 first steps that someone should take when they want to regrow their team?
I would say if you're completely new and you've never sponsored before, educate yourself. Look at the comp plan, look at the leadership side of it, and look at those numbers and think, okay, what's reasonable? Like, how many women can I pick up? And just kind of know that I know there's like a rule of thirds, and I don't remember exactly which, but there's going to be a third of them are going to be like consistent, like working people. A third are going to be doing just kind of like hanging in there, and a third are going to be falling off. So just kind of know that going in. So that means if you sponsor 3 women a month, you're going to get 1 girl who's like, rocking it. So and you choose your number, you choose what makes sense for you. My number is 6. Like, that is my absolute minimum for a month. That's how many I want it, because I'm trying to grow fast. But you don't have to grow fast. You can grow steady and slow. So educate yourself first. Know what are your goals, and you can always change your goals. Don't freak out about it too much and think, oh my gosh, I gotta sponsor 6 like Kerri does. Just choose one a month and then go from there. But know what your goals are and educate yourself and find what's reasonable for you in the amount of time you have. Educate yourself also in the sense of like knowing, like I did. So in the beginning, I reached up to someone way up above me and I said, can I talk to you on the phone? And she was like, yeah, sure. And she probably barely knew who I was, but showing initiative, like, to talk to someone like that, that's a good thing. They're going to be like, oh, heck yeah, this girl's ready to rock and roll. And I asked her lots of questions. How long did it take you to get here? How many women did you have to sponsor? How much did you have to sell? So knowing that kind of stuff is important too. And talk to someone that you want to be like her. Like, I mean, as far as like where she is in the company, I want to be EVP. So that's who I talk to. So educate yourself in whatever ways you can to get where you want to go. The second thing is set your mindset. Once you've made up your mind that this is something you want to do, you want to grow your business, like, make sure You write it down, put it up on your wall, put it in your phone, the background on your phone, set an alarm that tells you 5 times a day what your mindset is. Like you cannot, and until you will get to a point where you don't need to be reminded, but in the beginning, like for the first couple of months, remind yourself all the time why you're doing this. Why are you sponsoring? What are you trying to do? And it could be a community. You want to show more women in this community. It could be financial freedom. It could be time freedom. It could be whatever, but decide what that is and get it down and remind yourself as much as you can. And then number 3 is just start scared. In the beginning, it feels really scary, especially if you've only been a stylist for a couple months or a couple weeks or even a year, but you've never sponsored. It feels really scary because you feel like a fraud. It always feels like that. You feel like you don't know what the heck you're doing. And how are you going to teach someone else something that you don't even know? How are you going to mentor someone when, you don't know how to do that? Just do it. The best stylists are resourceful. That's what I was when I started. And the best stylists on my team, they are resourceful. They ask me questions, but they know where to find something and they just go find it. So you don't need to know everything is my point. There is training. There are Facebook pages. There's a huge community of stylists that will help them. I mean, have you guys gone in the stylist only page? Like someone asks a question and within 2 minutes, there's like 50 answers. So don't feel like you got to know everything. Just start scared and just do it. And that's my 3 steps right there.
Awesome. I want to just pitch in one that has to do with number 2, the mindset. Find friends in Ruby Ribbon that call you out when your mindset stinks. Find friends that call you out like you did earlier today or yesterday. You said to me, I just heard a limiting belief there. We need to talk about what you just said. And you call me out, and I need that. If I want to grow this business like I say I do, if my goals really are my goals, I'm not going to be able to do it alone. And it's not necessarily going to be easy every day. And yes, I may have doubts and my mindset might struggle. But one of the beautiful gifts of this business is that we have sister stylists around the country that we make friends with, and we partner together. Even though you and I, Kerri, aren't on the same, I mean, we're sister stylists, we're in the Cayman Girls and the Beautifuls, but we're not related in Ruby Ribbon. And that's, I think, part of the beauty of it, because this friendship is also about business, and we call each other to the highest good and call out our best selves. And so I appreciate you so much for doing that, because I don't have many people in my life that are confident enough to approach me and say, that's some stinking thinking you have going on there, and we need to talk about it. So I think that's really important. I want to encourage everybody who's listening to just be sure that you're not trying to do this business alone. Yes, you're it. Like Susan Jones always says, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. But you can certainly be in business by yourself if you shut yourself off and you don't get involved. And so I want to encourage everybody to make some friends, reach out, get to know people on other teams, find your people, and grow those relationships, because they're going to make your business better and your life better.
Yep, absolutely. It's so true. Yeah. And I mean, up to the point where I got close with you and some of the other girls, I could be successful, but it did feel a little bit lonely. Like no one was like, I wasn't celebrating someone, they weren't celebrating. It felt kind of lonely, but it only took me a couple months to find my tribe and just be like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah. And you call me out too, Carmen. You tell me when I'm thinking something or I'm saying something that's not right. And that's what you need. You need an honest friend who's going to celebrate you and call you on your stinking thinking, like she said.
Well, I think that, to wrap up, I just want to thank you, Kerri Ann, for sharing this wisdom. I know that this wasn't the typical training where here are the words that you can copy and paste. But I think that the beauty of this is that when we share our businesses and we share this opportunity with others, we're sharing ourselves. And you've shared so much of yourself, so much of your passion. I think that growing your passion for Ruby Ribbon is so important, and you have done that. And now it's just spilling out of you and attracting others to it. And that's something that we can all continue to grow and cultivate. So thank you so much for taking the time to share your passion and share your expertise with all of us.
Well, thank you, Carmen, for asking me to and for doing this too, because you had some really, really, really wise tips in there. And I want to say, just, yeah, to wrap it up, something that I think all of us don't realize is like when I share this stuff, it also reminds me of like why I'm doing this. So it helps me to share too. So if you have something that you want to share that you think you're really good at and you want to share some tips or something, share it, because it helps, it reinforces. So like my best way of learning is by teaching others. So if I learn something new and I teach someone that thing, like I've got it down now. Like I've got it down. So the collaboration in this company is amazing. It's second to none. And I think we are so fortunate to be a part of it. And anything we can do to pull the company up and just prompt it up and keep it going forever and ever is going to be in all of our best interests. So share, collaborate, find your power partners. Like Carmen said, I think that is so good advice. So good.
Well, you've recruited me all over again, friend. Thank you.